Imagine stepping into a Los Angeles nightclub in November 2021. The music pulsing, the crowd alive with energy. For Christy Giles and Hilda Marcela Cabrera-Sorzola, it was a night meant for joy until it spiraled into a deadly trap. Within hours, their lifeless bodies were dumped outside hospitals by masked men, unraveling a predator's sinister plot that shocked the city. This is the story of their final hours, the fight for justice, and the man convicted of their murders. 2021, a night that never ended. Christy Giles, a 24-year-old model from Alabama, was living her dream in Los Angeles. Known for her vibrant spirit, she'd traveled the world for fashion shoots, excelling in everything from soccer to pageants before signing with Wilhelmina Models. Recently married to artist Jan Silliers, she was exploring interior design, which led her to connect with Hilda Marcela Cabrera-Sorzola, a 26-year-old architect from Mexico. Hilda, a summa cum laude graduate from the University of Monterrey, had moved to LA to chase her career, bringing her love for travel and dance to the city's vibrant scene. The two women, both ambitious and full of life, became fast friends. On November 12, 2021, Christy and Hilda planned a girls' night out, starting at the exclusive Soho House in West Hollywood. They later headed to a warehouse party in East Los Angeles, a lively event packed with music and revelers. Around 3 a.m., they met three men: David Pierce, a 40-year-old self-proclaimed Hollywood producer, Brant Osborne, a 42-year-old actor, and Michael Ansbach, a 47-year-old photographer. Surveillance footage captured the women leaving the party with the trio, heading to Pierce's apartment in the Pico Robertson neighborhood between Beverly Wood and Miracle Mile. At the apartment, things took a sinister turn. Prosecutors later revealed that Pierce provided the women with a lethal mix of drugs, including cocaine laced with fentanyl. And in Christy's case, gamma-hydroxybutyrate, commonly known as the date rape drug. Around 5:30 a.m., Christy texted Hilda, "Let's go," followed by a wide-eyed emoji, signaling unease. Hilda replied, "Agreed." Uber called, "We'll be here in 10. An Uber arrived, but doorbell footage showed it leaving empty. Neither woman made it out. What happened in the next 12 hours would cost them their lives. The grim discovery. On November 13, 2021, Christy Giles was left outside Southern California Hospital in Culver City at approximately 4:30 p.m. She was dropped off by two masked men driving a black Toyota Prius with no license plates. Hospital staff reported that the men claimed they found her passed out on the curb and were acting as good Samaritans. But Christy was already dead, her body discarded like refuse. 2 hours later, at Kaiser Permanente West Los Angeles Medical Center, just 2 miles away, the same men dropped off Hilda, who was unconscious and barely clinging to life. She was intubated and placed in the ICU, but her family, devastated by her lack of brain activity, made the heart-wrenching decision to take her off life support on November 24th, just 1 day shy of her 27th birthday. Autopsies revealed the brutal truth. Both women died of multiple drug intoxication, ruled as homicides by the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner coroner. Christy's system contained cocaine, fentanyl, ketamine, and GHB, a deadly cocktail. Hilda tested positive for cocaine, MDMA, and other undetermined drugs, with her death attributed to multiple organ failure. Nurses treating Hilda noted slight vaginal bleeding and a small abrasion, hinting at possible sexual assault, though autopsies showed no definitive physical trauma. The suspicious circumstances: masked men, a car without plates, and the women's sudden overdoses screamed foul play, unraveling a predator's pattern. Christy's husband, Jan Silliers, refused to wait for answers. Using phone location data shared by a friend, he traced Christy and Hilda to Pierce's apartment. The Los Angeles Police Department moved quickly, with detectives like Jonathan Vanderlee racing to secure expiring surveillance footage. Videos confirmed the women left the warehouse party with Pierce, Osborne, and Ansbach, and later showed Pierce carrying Christy's lifeless body out of his apartment, followed by Hilda's. The investigation zeroed in on Pierce, a man with a dark history. In December 2021, the LAPD FBI Fugitive Task Force arrested Pierce, Osborne, and Ansbach. Pierce was initially charged with manslaughter, while Osborne and Ansbach faced accessory to manslaughter charges. However, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office held off on murder charges, sending the case back for further investigation. Pierce remained in custody due to unrelated sexual assault allegations dating back to 2007, involving 4 women. As the investigation deepened, 3 more women came forward, accusing Pierce of drugging and raping them between 2010 and 2020. His pattern was clear: lure women to his apartment, offer drinks or drugs, and assault them when they became incapacitated. By July 2022, the case took a major turn. District Attorney George Gascon announced murder charges against Pierce for the deaths of Christy and Hilda, along with 2 counts of selling or transporting fentanyl. Osborne was charged as an accessory after the fact, while Ansbach was not charged, though the case against him remained under review. Pierce's DNA found under Hilda's fingernails bolstered the prosecution's case, suggesting a struggle. Prosecutors alleged Pierce intentionally gave the women lethal doses of drugs, possibly to facilitate sexual assault, and then, with Osborne's help, dumped their bodies to cover his tracks. Justice in the courtroom. The trial began in January 2025, with Deputy District Attorneys Catherine Mariano and Seth Carmack presenting a damning case. 7 women testified about Pierce's history of drug-facilitated sexual assaults, painting him as a serial predator who used substances like GHB and fentanyl to incapacitate victims. Surveillance footage, text messages, and forensic evidence tied Pierce to the crime scene. Prosecutors argued that the drugs he provided at his apartment, not anything the women consumed earlier, caused their deaths. A chilling detail emerged. Pierce allegedly told his roommate, "Dead girls don't talk," revealing his callous mindset. After 2 days of deliberation, Los Angeles jury found David Pierce guilty on February 4, 2025, of 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Christy Giles and Hilda Marcela Cabrera-Arzola. He was also found guilty of 7 sexual assault charges, including forcible rape, sexual penetration by force, sodomy by force, and rape of an unconscious woman, spanning incidents from 2007 to 2020. Facing 148 years to life in prison, Pierce's sentencing was initially set for March 13, 2025. However, just minutes before the hearing that day, he dismissed his attorney and brought in new counsel to file for a retrial, causing a delay. As of July 2025, the motion for a new trial remains pending, and no new sentencing date has been confirmed, with Pierce still in custody. The jury deadlocked on the charges against Brant Osborne, leading to a mistrial. With a pre-trial hearing initially scheduled for March 13, 2025, however, this hearing was postponed to May 7, 2025, as prosecutors decided to pursue a retrial. Osborne, who remains free on a $40,000 bond, continues to plead not guilty to 2 counts of accessory after the fact. He allegedly assisted Pierce in disposing of the women's bodies, with surveillance footage showing him and Pierce carrying the women to the Prius and driving to the hospitals while disguised. Osborne claimed he urged Pierce to seek medical help, but prosecutors argued he knowingly helped cover up the crimes. As of July 2025, no further trial date has been confirmed, and Osborne's legal fate remains unresolved, with the case still pending in the Los Angeles Superior Court. Michael Ansbach was not charged, but the investigation into his role continued. A legacy of loss and resilience. Christy Giles and Hilda Marcela Cabrera-Arzola were more than victims, they were daughters, friends, and dreamers with bright futures. Christy's family scattered half her ashes in places she loved, while her mother, Dusty Giles, kept the rest in an urn wrapped in her unworn wedding dress. Hilda's family grieved the loss of a gifted architect whose love for exploring the world led her to 22 countries, until her journey was ended far too soon. Their loved ones, fueled by grief and determination, pushed for justice, with Jan Cilliers and Dusty Giles attending the trial to ensure Pierce faced accountability. The case exposed the dangers of fentanyl and the predatory tactics of men like Pierce, who exploited trust and used drugs as weapons. District Attorney Nathan Hochman vowed to prosecute those who illegally supply fentanyl, especially in cases involving sexual assault. While Pierce's conviction brought some closure, it couldn't fill the void left by Christy and Hilda. Their story serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of a single night and the enduring fight for justice. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, your like or subscription would truly encourage me to keep going.